Welcome to Crocodile MTG, your home of competitive, constructed play in the modern, standard, and legacy formats. Today's video was brought to you by all our wonderful sponsors, affiliates, and patrons. Thank you so much for supporting the Crocodile MTG channel, and we hope you enjoy today's video. Hello everyone and welcome. My name is Jordan with Crocodile MTG, here bringing you another Magic the Gathering video. Today we are doing a live recording on Twitch, like we are doing for most of our videos nowadays. So if you are on YouTube watching this, please head over to twitch.tv/crocodilemtg and please hit that follow button. That way you know when we're live, and if you'd like to subscribe to our channel, well, we're not Twitch affiliate yet, so you cannot do that yet. Thank you so much for watching, though, wherever you're tuning into. Today we are playing Mono Red Prison in Legacy. We are running Karn the Great Creator, which is a new card out of War of the Spark. I guess it's been around a little for a little while. Most people know what it is who is going to be watching this video. Essentially what it does is, if you don't know, activated abilities of artifacts your opponent's control cannot be activated. +1 until end of turn. Up to one target non-creature artifact becomes a artifact creature with power and toughness equal to its converted mana cost. So you can play out something like Mycosynth and plus it on Karn and then make it a 6/6. The other thing is you can -2 it and choose an artifact outside that you control outside the game. You may choose an artifact card you own from outside the game or in exile. Reveal that card and put that card into your hand. So if our opponent has something to exile one of our artifacts, or if they have like a Rest in Peace or something, we can actually get that back with Karn. But the more important part, outside the game, means in your sideboard. So that means your sideboard can consistently have a bunch of artifact answers for multiple different threats. And when you play out Karn, you're going to be able to tutor up those artifacts and then pretty much most likely immediately play them, or at least play them the turn after, to hopefully stabilize the board. So this is more of a prison build for our aggressive elements. We have Legion Warboss and Goblin Rabblemaster. Both create 1/1 Goblin tokens every turn that have haste and must attack. And then with Goblin Rabblemaster, all other goblins you control have haste and also must attack. Oh, I'm sorry, they don't give all goblins haste, just the 1/1 goblin creature tokens with haste. For prison elements, we have Trinisphere, which is a very good card at the moment. As long as Trinisphere is untapped, each spell that would cost less than 3 mana costs 3 mana to cast. So if you're trying to play a Chrome Mox after Trinisphere is on the battlefield, that will cost you 3 colorless mana. If you're playing something like Chalice of the Void, if you want to play a Chalice of the Void on 1, you have to pay 3 mana for the Chalice of the Void. It will come up with 1 counter still. It doesn't get like 1.5 counters. As far as Ensnaring Bridge goes, that's just a more control element. You end up emptying out your hand pretty quickly with this deck. And Ensnaring Bridge is just a great way to be able to prevent your opponent. And sometimes you want to hold back Legion Warboss tokens or Goblin Rabblemaster tokens. So by emptying out your hand and having Ensnaring Bridge, that makes it so those tokens just build up over a few turns. You don't have to swing with them immediately because they can't attack. Simian Spirit Guide and Chrome Mox is our sources for kind of mana ramp. We also have City of Traders and Ancient Tomb, also 2 cards that give us a good amount of mana ramp. Also with these cards, you can go Ancient Tomb into City of Traders or a second Ancient Tomb and play out Karn the Great Creator on turn 2, which tends to be pretty good against most decks that are running also artifacts that quickly mana ramp them. So Karn's a pretty good addition to this deck. As far as the Karn package in the sideboard, we have obviously the Mycosynth. If you're unfamiliar with this card, it turns all permanents into artifacts. So with Karn, your opponent can't activate artifacts. So this combos where if all their permanents are artifacts, they can't tap their lands, which is an activated ability. So if they can't tap their lands, obviously they can't play their cards. We have a Walking Ballista in the sideboard. We have another Trinisphere. an ensnaring bridge. Now, some of these you'll see in the main, and you're probably wondering why are they in the side also. This is just so if we don't have access to them, like we don't draw them naturally, Karn can just tutor them up from the sideboard. We have a couple Pyroclasms in the side for creature decks, such as Death and Taxes. There's also some Infect matches running around, some wide Delver strategies, things like that. We have a Winter's Orb. As long as it's untapped, players can't untap more than one land during their untap step. We also have a Sorcerer's Spyglass. When it enters the battlefield, look at an opponent's hand. You may choose any card name. Activated abilities of the source of the chosen name cannot be activated unless they're mana abilities. So Sorcerer's Spyglass is a great way to shut down your opponent's planeswalkers. If you're playing against elves, you can stop like Ranger and things that help them combo. Ratchet Bomb is in the sideboard just kind of as a universal board wipe. Lots of token strategies running around if a player is playing Storm and they want to kill you with all their goblin tokens, then Ratchet Bomb's a great way to just grab that, play it for 2, and blow it up. Liquid Metal Coating also combos with Karn. It turns target permanent into an artifact. So if you target your opponent's lands with this and then uptick Karn on your opponent's lands, it kills the land. And then we have a couple Tormont's Crypts in the sideboard here for our Reanimator matchup. Another piece of... So I was going over Prison Elements. We also have Blood Moon and Magus of the Moon. So there's a lot of 4-color and 5-color decks running around currently in Legacy. So playing Magus or Blood Moon on turn 1 or turn 2 tends to be pretty good. There's a lot of low CMC cards in Legacy in general, but especially as of right now. Similar to when Deathrite Shaman was unbanned, there was a lot of 1 CMC cards just kind of floating around going into 4 or 5-color control decks. And Chalice really kind of crushed those decks. So hopefully we can get through that again. We have Chalice of the Void as our prison element to counter a bunch of 1 CMC spells and possibly 2 if we get it on the board. Trinisphere pushes all those up to 3 mana, but Chalice still counters them. So if you're playing a 1 mana spell for 3 because of Trinisphere, you still get countered because the CMC is still 1 even though you're paying 3 for it. We also have Chandra. Chandra is a great way to tick her up or add mana and just keep churning through our deck and hopefully finding the cards we need. Sideboard would probably be pretty light in between games most of the time. You're bringing in the Pyroclasms if you want them. You're bringing in the Scab Clans if you want them. But for the most part, our entire sideboard can be tutored up with Karn. So you don't have to worry so much about bringing in a bunch of sideboard cards as much as you want to think about, how many times do I want to draw this card naturally and have it on turn 1 or 2 compared to how many times do I want to be able to have it with Karn. And that's why we're playing 2 Spyglasses also. Spyglass is a very powerful card against things like miracles and stuff like that, but we don't want to have not have one in our sideboard, because if we end up playing Karn and we want to be able to minus and just find that automatically in case we never draw it. So that's one we can bring in. Our Pyroclasms we bring in, the Scab Clans we bring in, but pretty much the rest are just... you probably want Tormod's Crypts if you're playing against Reanimator, but for the most part, they're all just here to exist for Karn tutors. And like I said before, just overall kind of an aggressive shell with the War Bosses and Chandra. We also have Fiery Confluence here. When you cast it, you choose 3, so you get to deal up to 1 damage to each creature. You can choose that mode 3 times if you want. You can deal 2 damage to your opponent. You can choose that mode each time if you'd like. Or you can also destroy target artifacts. So this is really good if we're playing against like the Mirror Match or an Affinity build. We can just blow up a bunch of stuff. But if we are playing against an Affinity build, Karn actually shuts down that pretty well. So now we're going to go ahead and jump into some matches. Thank you so much for watching. Please go hit that like and subscribe button if you enjoyed today's video. For your custom playmats, mousepads, and more, head over to Inked Gaming. Use promo code crocodilemtg10 to receive 10% off your order. Today's video was brought to you by all our wonderful sponsors, affiliates, and patrons.